smiled on me. Oh Lord, He has set me free. Oh, God has smiled on me. Oh Lord, He's been good to me. Sing it again, God has smiled. God has smiled on me. Set me free. He has set me free. Oh, God has smiled on me. Oh, so He's been good to me. Oh, it was amazing grace. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound. Saved a wretch like me. If I had to be honest, I was lost. Was lost. Oh, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Sing it again for God has smiled on me. Broke the chains and He set me free. If I had one witness, I would say, God, on a sinful, broken down shell of a man, and He's been good to me. He's been good to me. Oh, He's been good. He's been good. So He's been good to me. So good. So good to me. So good to me. So good to me. So good to me. When I couldn't do it on my own, God stepped in and He's been so good. So good to me. So good. So good to me. So good to me. So good to me.
Oh, good evening, or should I say good afternoon, depending upon where you are watching us from. My name is Gary Jones, Minister of Eastside Church of Christ here in Oklahoma City, and I'm extremely excited to be with you tonight for Higher Live. This is a collaboration of the National Youth Conference and the Crusade for Christ, where we are working together to do everything in our power to bring souls to Christ. Part of that effort is to make sure that we are reaching our young people. And as a part of our partnership, we thought no better way to start the partnership than with a back to school town hall. Listen, this afternoon, we have 6 amazing young people from all over the country who are with us. And we're going to start the evening by asking them to introduce themselves and you can get to know them. And then we're going to have a great conversation. Listen, if you're watching us online, please go ahead and like, share, send the link out to others so that they can join us for this conversation. And so tonight we have young people joining us from Los Angeles, Dallas, Oklahoma City, Atlanta, and New York. And so we're going to start by simply asking our panelists to introduce themselves. We'll actually start in Dallas with our first panelist, Megan Manning. Megan, tell us where you are, where you attend school, and your hometown.
Hello, everyone. I am Megan Manning. I am a senior at Southern Methodist University, SMU, in Dallas, Texas, and I'm double majoring in political science and political communication with a minor in Spanish.
Awesome. So glad to have you tonight. Down in Atlanta, Noah Kathy. Noah, introduce yourself. No worries. We'll come back to Noah here in just a moment. In New York, we have with us Evan Ballantine. Evan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, I'm Evan Ballantine. I am from Brooklyn, New York. I'm currently a junior attending the University at Buffalo in Buffalo, New York. I am studying IT management, and I'm really excited to be here today.
All right, awesome. Glad to have you. In Detroit, Michigan, Jalen Spear. Jalen.
Hello. I'm very excited to be here today. Once again, I am Jalen Spearman. My camera should be on. Maybe if you guys see me. Again, very excited to be here.
Glad to have you with us tonight. Let's try Atlanta again. Noah, are you there yet?
Hello, can you hear me?
We got you.
Okay, perfect. Yes, my name is Noah Cathy. I'm a junior at Morehouse College here in Atlanta, Georgia, studying social justice and sociology on the pre-law track, and super excited to be here with you all this evening.
Awesome. Glad to have you, Noah. All the way from Los Angeles, California. Brother Long, why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Jashea Lang. I am a sophomore attending Oxford Academy in California.
Glad
Very
to have
happy
you,
to be
Brother
here.
Lang. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Glad to have you as well. Our sixth and final panelist is actually here with me in studio in the middle of Oklahoma City, right at the East Side Church of Christ. So maybe we can tell the people who you are.
Yes. Hello, my name is Bristol Jones. I am a senior at Edmond Memorial High School, and I attend Eastside Church of Christ in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Awesome. Listen, we are glad to have all of these amazing young people with us tonight as we work collaboratively to just talk about what faith looks like going back to school, to talk about what faith looks like for children of God who are trying to simply let their light shine in the school environment. And so we'll start tonight. Noah, I'm going to pitch the first question to you if you don't mind. I want to start by simply asking, we talk about faith a lot in church, right? But what does faith look like in your school environment? So for you, you're there at Morehouse. What does it look like to have to balance your faith and your school load?
I appreciate that question and don't mind starting off. I think faith manifests itself in a number of ways, right? But I think in college specifically, it's allowing God to move through the uncertainty, right? When you're growing up in church, as many of us did, faith seems very sure. Church is the same time every Sunday. It's the same people. It's hallmarks in Dallas, Youth for Christ, and National Youth Conference, and church leagues, and all these things. In college, life is much more unsure, and so is faith. And so faith grows and faith manifests itself by allowing God to move through the uncertainty of new friends and different social structures, of unsure what you want to study or what job opportunities look like or what the future may hold, what clubs you want to engage in, where you're going to live, where you're going to stay, what you're going to eat. These are all things that for college students are big questions. big question marks. And the only real answer to them, while maintaining peace anyway, is allowing faith to be the guiding factor. So to begin the conversation, I think it's really faith takes its greatest form by moving in times of uncertainty and unassuredness.
Awesome. Love that response. Evan, same question.
Absolutely. I fully agree with everything Noah said for sure, right? A lot of in the uncertainty, but I think faith also moves, right? Based on how you act in college, right? Because now a lot of this freedom is on your own, right? And a lot of the faith that you're going to have is based on what you do while no one else is watching, while you're by yourself, right? Right? It's that making sure you're keeping up with what you know is right, keeping like what you've learned, like while being at home, while studying with your parents, all that stuff, right? That is kind of your foundation. And then now this faith that you have to have on your own when you're by yourself, right? When other people are doing different things than you, right? That's when it's really going to start playing in there, when you need to start making these decisions for yourself, right? Now you're out in another place or you're by yourself and you know who you're representing, right? You're representing yourself, you're representing your family, but more importantly, you're representing God, right? Because you got to be the shining light that kind of stands out while everyone else is doing whatever they're doing. You need to be different, right? Because that's what we're made to do, right? So now that faith has to play in, and whatever and how you're being different is how that faith is going to come into play, right? How you're acting around others and how you're reacting to others.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Brother Lane, you are probably our youngest of our panelists, and I want to ask you from the other end of the perspective of the lens, if you will, what are some things that you have looked forward to most returning back to school this year? What are some things that excite you the most about heading back to school?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful question. Some things that I'm looking forward to this school year are probably growing more with God in school, because that's not something a lot of us talk about in school. We do a lot at church or in fellowship and things like that, but taking the opportunity to join clubs or discuss with friends and to grow closer to God along with your peers in school. That's one thing I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. You have had full summer travel and fun and attending the 74th Annual National Youth Conference at Ball State. What are some things that you look forward to as you return to school, not only just from a school perspective, but as a senior approaching your last year in high school?
Well, as a senior, this year I'm going to be approaching many last firsts. So I'm going to try to will do my best to enjoy those last firsts and really take into account what I'm going to do for my future and make sure that I pray and ask God what's right for my future.
Awesome. Megan Manning, you are at Southern Methodist University, doing some amazing things. We've talked to a couple of our youth about some of the things they look forward to approaching the school year. What may be one thing or maybe a couple things that you've thought about, not necessarily that gives you pause, but maybe a couple of challenges that you know may be on the horizon as you continue in your collegiate career?
So this year I will be a senior in college. A lot of my friends have just graduated, and so applying for jobs after graduation seems a bit shaky right now. So that is a challenge that I am not as much looking forward to, but I know that God will work it out for me. So I'm trying to have peace with that. And also just like this being my last year being in school and like having that kind of stability. Next year will definitely look a lot different for me, but I'm also excited about it.
Awesome. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So as you approach the school year, there's always so many opportunities and so many chances to do more, and so we're always excited for that. And congratulations on being at the end of your collegiate journey. I remember telling on myself, I remember you went in this reality. It seemed like so young ago, so long ago. So it took a couple of days ago, and here you are finishing your process. I want to ask you guys something that I've kind of thought about a little bit, and I don't know if this is a youth specific question, and so I'll start with you, Bristol, because you're here, and I'll set up the question for you. But I think even as adults, sometimes we struggle with making sure that we're the same person on Sunday that we are throughout the week. So many things happen. What are some ways in which youth can, or maybe one of the ways in which you do, try to be intentional to make sure that faith isn't just a Sunday thing for you?
So one thing that I do to make sure that faith isn't just a one day thing, I try to, well, whenever our preacher here is teaching the sermon, I write notes about it and I try to refer back to those notes during the week to keep my head up and give me stability throughout. So that's one thing that I most important.
Awesome. Evan, tell me, how do you keep faith from just being a Sunday thing?
No, see, I was really hoping you would ask me that question too. Because the way I do it is I like to surround myself with people who's also working on their faith journey as well, right? So making sure like the people you are with, right, are on the same path as you, or believing the same things as you, right? Like I have people who keep me accountable, like, hey, make sure we're doing our devotion. Hey, make sure you're taking notes. Make sure we're gonna head to church this time, right? Make sure you're there, all that stuff, right? To make sure that you're not just in this by yourself, right? Because sometimes when you're doing it alone, right, then you can cut corners or try and just be like, maybe not this time because it's just you. But when you're doing it with a group of people and you have people around you who you can surround yourself with, that'll guide you and help you, then now you can much easier manage, keeping that faith and keeping it out from just being that one Sunday time and being throughout the week.
That's a great response. Jalen, I'm coming to you next, so get ready. I do want to make sure that you know that there is a text line. If you'd like to text in questions, there is a text line that we'll put up on the screen for you if you would like to text in your questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and text those in, and we'll try to get to as many of those as possible. So Jalen, tell me about it. You are one of the most popular fellas that we have at the National Youth Conference. You've been there for a while. You're a leader. And I want to know, how are you the same Jalen on campus, amongst your friends, as you are in Oakland every Sunday? What is that like for you?
So I would say the way that I feel like you would stay the same is taking your daily bread. And what I mean by that is, I know if you don't know, and when the Lord, or when Jesus did the prayer that we use to kind of structure our prayers, he asked the Lord to give us this day our daily bread. And I feel like sometimes that gets misconstrued, because when I say I take my daily bread, I'm not talking about taking communion every day. I'm talking about eating the word, if that makes sense. Sitting in it, so then I can let that guide me and let the Lord guide me through it. That I feel like that's the thing that allows me to act the same way I would act on Sunday in the sanctuary, on a Saturday in the street. Not saying that I'm in the street, of course, but with the flow of things in this world right now, you need to be deeper in your Bible than you are in anything else you're in. And I feel like you constantly taking in the word of God is the thing that will guide all of us to be better and to walk the way that we're supposed to daily.
Awesome. Absolutely love it. Noah, what are some ways in which we can encourage youth to be willing to take a stand, even when it means having to stand alone? There are times when things may be unpopular, or you may have a contrarian opinion on something, what are some ways in which you've learned that you can take that stand, even if it means having to stand alone?
That's a great question. And I think one of the things that most keeps me grounded is understanding that the church itself grew kind of out of this unborn space, right? Like when Paul and when Peter and when John are going around sharing the gospel for the first time, not only are they contradicting norms and conventions of their own society, but they are also quite literally risking their lives, right? And I won't speak to anyone's personal experience, but I have not yet encountered a dichotomy in which I would be sacrificing my life for standing up for something. And so the courage of those individuals is what inspires me, because I understand their struggle. And this same is true with Jesus, right? The Bible says he learned obedience through suffering. Suffering sometimes is, yes, physical pain and mental pain. Suffering is also sometimes a social loss. It's standing up for friends, or creating groups that might be discounted. It's saying things or posting things that might seem unpopular. Those are forms of suffering too. But the obedience God asks us to live in, it often accompanies this. And so the courage that we must live with, we must abide with. If God could use Moses, who admits to not speaking, well, if he can use Jonah, who literally ran away from the mission God gave him, if he can use a number of disciples who are documented sinners in their lives before Christ, then we too are useful. And part of that use comes in discomfort. It comes in unpopularity. It comes in knowing that there are things greater than us, greater than our own desires, our own insecurities. The mission of Christ is greater than that. And so I think really putting it into the perspective of one, none of us on this call, I think I know all of them pretty well. And so I don't want to speak for them, but none of us have experienced a Peter or Paul moment where our life has been on the line for standing up for Jesus. And so I think putting it into perspective is something that really helps a lot when trying to figure out what's worth standing up for.
I love it. Finding out what's worth sticking up for, putting things in perspective, understanding what's important, what's not important. I love that. Megan, if you would, talk to me about maybe a situation where you found yourself having to make a decision, or having to stand, or even making a decision that maybe was contrary to a decision maybe friends would have made, but you knew it was the right thing for you and your faith. Talk to me a little bit about that.
I'm so sorry. Can you please repeat the question? You're a little bit
Absolutely.
muffled.
Absolutely. I said a whole bunch of stuff just to say, tell me about what that process looks like for you, standing up or taking a position that's different from maybe friends or what society is taking. What does that look like for you?
I feel like for me, it is all about staying close to God and making that like a daily thing. And so I found that in college, a lot of like growing your faith is very independent, and like you have to hold yourself accountable in those kinds of ways. Um, Growing up in the church, I was always like kind of told what to do. And so getting to college and having that kind of independence, I learned that like going to church and like having to do Bible study by myself and do those kinds of things. I had to hold myself accountable with that. And also, like somebody else said, having other people who are like-minded, people who are equally yoked around you to keep you on the straight and narrow path. As far as making decisions, that is something that when I have like a large decision to make regarding like jobs or classes or majors, always I found that um, having that relationship with God and like always staying connected with him, he will always keep you on the right path. And even when like I make a decision that like I think that I want, he will always place me back on the right path.
So I want to ask this next question, and I'm going to go Brother Spearman, Lane, and then Bristol in that order. We'll start with you, Jalen. How much of an influence do you believe social media has upon our young people in today's climate?
I'm going to be completely honest and transparent with it. Social media has probably the biggest hold on not even just young people, and I'm not even trying to age anybody, but Facebook itself pulls people in. Social media has such a hold on people. It's almost, I don't want to say disgusting, but it's really crazy because even myself, I at times find myself reaching for my phone and going to TikTok or Instagram or something instead of maybe the Bible app. Now, is it a habit that I work on? And I see that it's not the best, and I work on it. Yes, but it's something that I've noticed that it's not even just me. Now, even in school, even in my workspace, I constantly see younger people than me, older people than me. We're supposed to be doing a job, or we're supposed to be doing our work, and they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok, just swiping and swiping, and it literally is made to pull you into the app and almost waste your time. And the Lord has blessed us with so much, like it works against us at the end of the day. And it's almost like a drug where it's dopamine that gets released in your head and giving you a feeling of satisfaction, almost that next swipe or seeing what's next in the anticipation. And it's something hard to break because at the end of the day, honestly, it is an addiction, but it has almost everybody in a tight grasp, honestly.
Thank you for that perspective, Brother Lane. What does social media do to us? What kind of grasp does it influence in the animals?
Yeah, just saying the similar thing to Jalen. It has a big grasp on culture today. Like he said, it's almost scary even because just thinking about the hours, days even we spend on our phone, myself included. It's just a really big distraction from what we were called to do as Christians. So it's really scary because we're listening to these influencers about whatever it may be, whatever on your feed, if whatever you want to call it, but it's distracting us from going out and spreading the word and getting closer to God ourselves.
Thank you. So Bristol, we've heard Jalen, we've heard Lane talk about all the difficulty that come with social media. And I want to ask you along that same vein, are there any ways that you maybe are aware of that we can use social media positively as people of faith, and maybe influence friends or anything like? There's some ways in which do you use social media positive ways, Bristol?
Yes, I would say I use social media in a positive way. Like both of them have said, social media has probably the biggest influence on just about everybody, ranging from age groups. One way that I use social media for a more positive way is I use it to spread Bible verses. And if I see like a positive video, I send it to my cousins and my church group. And it's just a really good way to, since everybody's already on their phones, why not send a video to encourage someone and maybe get them off their phone and open up their Bible.
Love it, love it. So Evan, listen, Evan was originally supposed to join us from the King's Church of Christ in New York City, but Evan is a college student and he is up in Buffalo. And so he's chiming in from campus this evening, and we're grateful for that. Evan, tell me, what is the experience like as a high school student who becomes a college student, and now you got to find a new church home, you got to reorient yourself. You're not going to the same place that you would go every Sunday morning. What is that process like? Has there been a challenge? Or explain it for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm gonna start with the challenges, right? And we can go into like what I found as a solution. I think one of the biggest challenges is that when you get to college, right, you have a lot of differing ideas just being like shoved in your face, right? Like so many different people, different cultures, different religions believe in different things, right? And that's great, right? But it can definitely kind of get like confusing at times, right? Because you have people who will have different ideas than you, and they'll even sometimes they'll battle you on it, right? They'll like you'll say something that you like know from the Bible, like, oh yeah, this is true, and then they'll just fight you on that, and it can turn into a whole big thing, right? But I think what I found as a solution, right, was actually me and my family before I even got out here, right? We actually looked for places and people that we knew, right? Like, oh, we know brother and sister so and so from here, there, and that, and they go to this church nearby, and you contact them, get in communication with them, see how it is, right? And thankfully for me, I didn't have it as hard as some other people might, because I actually I had a friend who goes to University of Buffalo already, who already went to a church that we knew was great and was lovely. Shout out Main Street Church of Christ. But I think a lot of times the best thing to do, right, is kind of just doing that research beforehand, because we have a lot of church people, like even though you may not know them personally, you may know someone that knows someone that knows someone that'll be like, oh, I went to church with them back in the days, or for me, it was like, oh, yeah, I know them from Easton Ears, something like that, right? So just kind of doing that research, right? Asking around, right? Because you want to find the church that is a church of Christ, right? Because there are a lot of places out here that might say, oh, we're a church, but it's going to be a little bit different, right? Some place will be like, oh, we just use instruments, and you'll be like, oh, instruments. Okay, I've never experienced that before, but maybe let's see, right? But even though, so you got to just be careful with how you go about it, but like definitely speaking to people that you know, right? Because they'll definitely help you out and definitely guide you in the right path. You want to use those resources when you can.
Thanks for sharing that with us. So our theme for the National Youth Conference this past July was high, right? And we went through a myriad of subtopics, higher ways, higher worship, right? So we talked about pretty much trying to live above the influence. And one of the things that I admire about each one of you young people is that you're all leaders in your own right. I want to ask you, and then we'll start with Megan on this one, and then we'll go to Noah. What makes a leader in your generation? How do you identify what makes someone a leader uh, in your generation? We'll start with Megan.
I actually really love that you asked this question because I was having a conversation with a friend a few days ago about this. And I feel like the idea of a leader is always somebody who's like out front and also just like sometimes the loudest in the room, sometimes the person who's making the decisions. But a lot of times the best leaders are the people who are like listening and also know when they don't need to lead and when they need to follow. I feel like this is something that I had to learn a lot in college because my whole life I've kind of been told that I was a good leader and I was always out front and I was always the one like doing the most, I guess, in my mind. But in college, I learned that like I don't have to have the highest position in every organization or have the highest grade or do like all the big things to be considered a good leader. A leader is a person who's just like willing to listen, willing to hear people out, and then also communicate that to other people. Sometimes higher ups if we're in the job, if we're in the like workplace or something like that. But being a leader isn't just about being out front and making all the big decisions as they are made out to be.
Noah.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly second Megan's analysis there. I think leadership will be thrust upon you in a number of ways, but I think when you think about a leader in this generation specifically, I think one, the actual spheres of leadership have changed, right? There is no longer like a race to the top, and the companies aren't led by one person; they're led by a board of people. Now we have like chief impact officers, chief people officers, chief responsibility officers, because a growing world understands that leadership cannot be done by one person. And so I think it's important that teams are created, that coalitions are led, but also the Bible does point to a number of traits that actually give us kind of a guidance for leadership. It's not just about a physical appearance. It's not about a vocal gift, right? And when in Psalms, God talks about David with his upright heart, or David says, with his upright heart, he shepherded them and guided them. Job, even through his struggles, he talks about taking up the case of the stranger, championing the overlooked. These are the things that leadership is comprised of. It is not a resume. It is not a personality test. Instead, it is these choices, these small choices where people have the option to fully lean into virtue. And I think those that do them more than they don't will often find leadership as the result.
So, with all that considered, Brother Lang, I want you to tell me, how difficult is it to identify a leader when you see a leader amongst your peers? Can you just look at the person, you know what? That person is a leader. How do you identify?
Great question. Great question. Just soaking in all the responses. To identify a leader, like the previous person said, it's not the person that is always the loudest or is doing the most. You can't just look at, oh, who raises their hand first or who steps up first. You kind of have to dive in deep and think about, okay, who is listening the most, who is actually taking in everyone's opinions and views, not just, speaking up for everyone themselves, and really just, really just open-minded and not as stubborn, and keeping everyone accounted for and making sure everyone's seen and valued. And really a leader is a person that can bring out everyone's strengths and unite everyone.
Love it, absolutely love it. So we got a couple questions that were texted into us. The first one says, Bristol, phenomenal job so far. My question is, how do you balance faith and school simultaneously?
So, being a student athlete, how I manage my faith with school and doing track, I throw shot this. So, first I practice in the morning. So, after I do practice, I usually try to do my morning devotion on the Bible app. Then I go through school, and school, as we all know, this school is going to be tough. It's going to be hard. You're going to get tired. Then right after school, you have practice. So after practice, you're going to be tired, but you got to just keep going. That's how I do it. As soon as I get home, I try to get my word in. Most of the time I don't. I'm just going to be honest, but it's hard balancing it. But I think making the effort trying to balance it is a step in the right direction for me. So
Thank you. We'll shoot this one to Jalen. It says, have you had an aha moment where you were grateful for your church upbringing and your biblical foundation? Have you had that aha moment in school where you were grateful for your church upbringing and your biblical foundation?
I would definitely say I had an aha moment. I had a few of them, honestly, because in life, I found myself being able to help others because of the way that I was raised and the way that I knew to go. Like it has been, even outside of just in school per se, even like in my work life, I've been having aha moments where I'm able to spread the word and show people the way, or show people an example of a walk with the Lord. Now, none of us are perfect. That is a fact through and through, because Jesus was, and he came down and died for us. But when it comes down to it, it's about us trying. And being raised in the church, it was really big on understanding what the word is so that I could walk it out in the way that I should. And the aha moments I had, so I'm not gonna say any names, but just throwing this out there, I had a friend who was going through a very, very tough situation with their family. And I had an aha moment because I was able to help them through it in a way that I don't think someone with my understanding would be able to, because I was able to connect with them just in general, being able to talk with them and nurture them to help them get through it. And being raised in a church with everyone around you, you know, helping you through any situation you're going through, being there to talk and helping and nurturing you through what you're going through. Honestly, that helped me. Then I realized, like, I was built for this. Like, I was made to help. I was made to serve. Like, that's what I was raised and we were all made to do.
Love it. This is what we were made for, right? This is what we're made for. We got one more question that was texted in, and we'll have that question. And then what I want for all of our panelists to do is to take a moment and think, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak to every young person, every youth group in the country, right? And so I want you to be thinking about, if you had everybody paying attention, you really do right now, if you had everybody locked in and paying attention, and you could give them one piece of advice, just peer to peer, brother and sister to brother and sister, what would that advice be as you go into this new school year? So let me get to our last question that was texted in as we get ready to round third on this afternoon. It says, has there ever been a moment where you guys felt like Is there anyone who would like to take that particular question?
You cut out for a second. Could you just repeat it one more time?
Absolutely. Thanks, Jalen, for volunteering. I'll read it again. It says, has there ever been a moment where you guys felt like you were going through hardship?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, they,
I think I got two going at once. Let's go. Are you talking, Noah?
No, I was asking, could like you hear us, or can we hear you? But you can finish the
Can you
question.
hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Evan, are you answering that for me?
I didn't get the whole question. I
Okay.
missed part
No
of it.
worries. It's just talking about hardship. Have you ever had a situation where you dealt with hardship and you felt like you were all alone? If so, how did you manage that? You ever felt like you had to deal with a situation or circumstance by yourself? If so, how did you manage that?
Okay, if we don't mind, I will answer that, right? Because it's happened to me very recently. Because as you know, I'm back here. I've been on this campus though all summer, right? I've been working here as an orientation leader and as a community assistant, right? And applying for this photography job that on campus. So I've been here all summer doing trainings, working with new students, all that stuff, right? And a lot of the hardships come from being somewhere where there aren't a lot of people that you know, right? Or being somewhere where you don't really have someone that's like really has your back. You know, like when you're home, right? You know, you always got family that surrounds you that you're like, no matter what's going on, like they'll have your back, they'll be there for you, right? But here, like it's pretty far to the point where like a lot of the times when I'm like struggling, right, whether that's mentally or physically, it just feels like I don't really have too much like people behind me, right? And so how I kind of that's a weird word. I kind of pivoted from that, right? Is kind of relying more now on my church family, right? Like that's secondary people that I know will still be there for me, right? So a lot of times what would happen is if I was really feeling like a certain way, like dang, I'm going through this right now, right? I would speak to some of my church leaders right up here in Buffalo, right? Because even though I haven't been here super long, right? I still like they've still made me feel so comfortable, right? They've been so welcoming and building like fitting me into their community that I really felt open that I can talk to them about anything that's going on, right? And so, you know, they gave me phone numbers, right? Like, hey, you can call us, talk to us whenever you need, right? They always check up on me, right? Make sure I'm well, right? So having that church family, even when you're away, right, is super important, right? Kind of back to what I was saying before. So making sure that you find that church home, like even when you're gone, that's still gonna be there for you, that you know, like, hey, this is a good community, this is a good place for me, right? And that these people will love me just as if I've always been here.
I thank you for your transparency. Thank you for sharing that. I kind of want to ask a follow-up. We're just about at the end. I know, obviously, Bristol, I know your youth group really well. Noah and Megan, you guys came up, Marsalis and Central Point. I know that the folks there at Alondra and even at Oakland, and all of you, even with Kings and Legionnaires, all of you come from very close knit youth group groups, right? Where you all have friends that you literally grown up in church with. I just want to drill down on that a little bit. Evan talked about relying on and leaning on his church family. If you guys would speak to what it means to you to have friends at church, to have friends that you can talk to. You mentioned even sending it encouraging videos and things like that to your youth group. What does it mean to have that community? I'll start with Bristol, then I'll pitch to Megan or Noah, and then we'll go that way.
Well, since our church group has known each other basically since we were babies, it's kind of easy for us to let each other know when we're messing up or when we need to get this together, or if we haven't seen each other at church in a minute. It makes it easier on everyone else to help each other get us on the right path.
Love it. Megan, what does that mean to you to have that community with your church
Okay,
folks?
I feel like in middle school and high school, I definitely took my youth group for granted because they were always just like my friends I grew up with and my friends from church. But definitely in college, I've grown to appreciate them so much and just like the community that Marsalis and our church has fostered also through the National Youth Conference, because I've met so many people who don't have many friends at their church or like don't have such a supportive friend group or like youth group that they grew up with. And so even now when I have problems, like I always know that I have at least a few friends and probably more that I can always call on to pray for me, to talk with me when I need help or if I need counsel, all of those things. It really is special. And then I just want to remind everyone back to the question that we were answering before. You don't have to go through anything alone. You don't have to feel alone. There are always people around who, if they aren't going through the same thing, they're going through something similar. So just talk to people, be willing to open up. And if you can't find anyone, there's also people from the National Youth Conference. I'm sure you could contact any of us and we would be happy to talk with you as well.
Absolutely. Noah, jump in there. Talk to me about that, the importance of that youth group.
Yeah, facts. To echo Megan's point, the line is always open. I know Evan and Jalen this year were NYCU ambassadors with me, and that program is certainly conference specific, but the connections don't end in that week, right? And so to answer the question about friendship, about finding friends, I echo Megan's point almost wholeheartedly about taking youth groups and youth organizations and church for granted. At home, always every weekend seeing people that like very similar faith sets. I went to school with Patrick Worthy and Jackson Forte for like a large part of my primary education. So even at school, like every day I was engaging with people that I knew had similar values. In high school that dipped in a little bit, and then in college, much so. And then in fact, in the most difficult times of my college experience, my college friends have been there and they're amazing, made a lot of great bonds and connections. But it's been friends from home. I was texting Megan Manning on election night, dealing with a very difficult and frustrating kind of world realization. A number of people at our school have passed away since I've been there, and I've talked to Xavier Riley from California and Patrick, who was mentioned, and a number of other people, Taylor from Michigan, right, who are hallmarks in my life, people that I consider almost like family, one, because our time knowing each other, but also because of the understanding that faith is what binds us. It is both these organizations, these affiliations, collegial bonds are great, but we are one because of faith. And so I think those are the things that keep me calm and comforted when life gets rough.
Love it, love it. Brother Lane, tell me what value that you found in having that church family there at Alondra.
Sure, sure. So in high school right now, really just taking advantage of all of my church family because there's things at school. Being one of the few African American kids at my school, I take a lot of the issues that I face, and I talk to my church family, my family about it, and just really taking advantage of that because they're there to help you. They're there to help you grow not only closer to God, but as a Christian yourself and an individual. So really just taking counsel on them and talking to them about what you're going through because they've done it before. They were teens and college students before. So really just taking advantage of their experience and how they overcame it and how they can help you.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Let's see, Jalen, go ahead and go. You got to tell us about Oakland. What it's meant to you to have that connection there at Oakland, and then we'll get ready to close out.
Definitely the connection with the youth and young adults and even the more seasoned saints, like it's amazing because even like when I was on campus, when I used to go to Defiance College in Ohio, I was playing football and I felt like I was in a box. Like I felt like it was bad. But then I started reaching out, and it was actually crazy because I was reached out to from some of the I guess you say young adults from my old team group who grew up around me. They reached out to me and was just checking on me, and it made me feel so much better because again, like I said, I felt like I was in a box out there in Ohio. I was around people that I did not know. I was around people that were drastically different from me. But having that family that cared to reach out and actually extend a hand in a sense. And then even now, after I transferred to a different college, and I don't feel like I'm in a box, but still that conversation, that reaching out is just it's just amazing because then it opens my eyes and shows me on how much we actually do care for each other. And even going to the youth that are younger than me now, I'm almost at the point where I'm at the point where I'm reaching out to them. I'm reaching out to the people older, younger than me, all of it, just to show like we are a family. Like we care about each other. We are family, different moms, maybe same dad at the end of the day, same father. So we're all connected, and it's just the love here is just crazy. Even some of our church family that may not come to church as much as they used to, keeping that connection with them because their relationship with the Lord and still is the main thing that matters at the end of the day.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So we're going to get ready to land this plane. I don't know about you guys, but I've had a great time having this conversation with you. Heard one said all good things must come to an end. But I want to give you a chance. I want to give each one of our panelists an opportunity. We'll take maybe not too long. It doesn't have to be 3 points and a close, but just take a moment. And I want you to. We'll start with your brother Lang. We'll work our way back east. But we want to give you a chance. Any advice, any well wishes, any encouragement that you'd like to give to your colleagues and your comrades as all of you all are going back to school, trying to let your light shine, trying to be the best young people that God has called you to be. And so the floor is yours, Brother Lang.
Thank you. So one takeaway that I've really been noticing recently is just the importance of being consistent. There's, like we've said previously, there are a lot of distractions right now, things like social media, friends, or whatever. Being consistent with your relationship with God, sports, your career goals, anything like that. Developing consistent habits now, because as young people, while our lives are difficult now, they're gonna get harder. We're gonna have more responsibilities like families or our careers. So really developing consistent habits now, because you may have goals, but without consistency and good relationship with God, you may get distracted and things may fall through the roof. So really developing consistent habits and being able to follow through on what you say you were going to follow through on.
Love it, love it. Thank you so much for those wise words. We're going to Dallas. Megan Manning, if you will.
One of my favorite scriptures has always been Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you, be strong and of good courage? Do not be afraid nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And I heard advice from one of my bosses this summer, and she told me, do it even if you're scared, just do it scared. I feel like even in my mere 21 years of life, I've let fear stop me from doing some of the things that probably would have been good opportunities, but I was scared. And so if I could give any advice, it's one, don't be scared. Do have be strong and of good courage. But even if you are scared, still do it anyway. Otherwise, you won't know what blessings you would have missed out on. So.
Oh, I love that. 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 Do it anyway, even if you're scared. I love that. That's the very definition of faith, right? It's not that the fear is theirs, and I won't let the fear control. I love that. Do it anyway, even if you're scared. Jalen Spearman in Detroit, Michigan, Southfield to be exact. Jalen.
We have the Lord on our side, so we have the victory at the end of the day. But a lot of times, I won't say a lot of times, but sometimes it's not easy. Take every opportunity that you have in front of you after you pray about it. Don't let procrastination hold you down. I know you said not to do 3 points in the close, but is then don't just be in the room, be the room. So don't just sit there, but actually be in it. Pertaining to school, sit in the front. Dead serious. Sit in the front and focus. When you pull yourself away pull yourself further away from the learning, you may be able to get distracted and unfocused. Stay off your phone as much as you probably do now. The Lord has your back going through everything you're going through, and he will not put it on your plate if you could not handle it. That is a fact every day. He has equipped you with everything you need. All you have to do is just realize that and keep moving forward. Real quick, the Lord loves you at all times, and he would love to hear from you at all times. Just keep that in mind. And that is that.
Awesome. Thank you, Jalen. Thank you so much. We'll go here to Oklahoma City. Russell Jones.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to say, you only live once. So life is too short for us to be scared and nervous and depressed all the time. So I would just say, God has been too good for us. So I would just say YOLO. And shout out to VSVP.
All right. And then let's go to New York. Let's go to Evan. Evan, some wise words for us as we close.
Yes. 2 quick things. Promise it'll be quick, but don't promise. All right. First, balance, right? No matter what you're doing, you're always going to need that, right? Making sure that you have the proper balance so that you don't, overextend yourself, that you don't wear yourself out, right? Whether that's within school, whether that's within relaxing, right? Making sure that you have that amount of time where you're doing that work, but not doing too much of it, and you're taking those breaks, but not taking too long of breaks, making sure you have that balance. And last is confidence, right? Making sure you be confident, right? Be confident in what you know, right? Be confident in your faith in God, right? Like, especially if you're watching this right now, then you already got a good foundation, right? So make sure that you're confident about what you know in the Lord and the Bible and all that stuff. And that is all.
Love it. That's good stuff there. Good stuff from all you guys. We will have our final words from Noah, Kathy.
Appreciate it. This has been an amazing night. And the last thing I want to leave you with is actually a verse that I heard on my way to college. I've been through the Bible, and a number of verses stand out as things that I believe are encouraging. But there's a verse in Isaiah 30 Just for a little bit of context, and Isaiah 30, the kingdom of Judah, the southern kingdom of Judah, is facing an insane like military threat from the Assyrians, and they're about to go into this immense war and dealing with all this woe. I think the book, like in a normal Bible, is titled like "Woe to the Obstinate Nation," right? And despite all of this, in verse 21 of Isaiah 30, the Bible says, "Whether you turn to the left or to the right, your ears will hear a voice coming from behind you, saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" And I think about that verse a lot, right? I began talking about uncertainty and unassuredness and discomfort and calamity and all of these things that we are dealing with. And in a sense, we are like the people of Judah, of Judah's southern kingdom. The Messiah was supposed to come through this nation, and they were faced against one of the most difficult threats and battles documented in the Old Testament. And the voice of God speaks to them. Whether you look to the left or to the right, your ears will hear a voice from behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." And so whatever you're going through, the isolation, the hardship, the difficulty, the social stratification, all of what you are experiencing is difficult, it is hard, it is complex. And the only thing that should give you peace through that is knowing that despite any difficulty, any challenge, any chaos, any confusion, there will be a voice, whichever way you turn, and it will be the Holy Spirit. It'll be the voice of God encouraging you, reminding you, comforting you, and illuminating a path ahead. And so that's the charge I leave to you all, and to find the voice of God wherever you are, because it is there too.
That's no better way to close out our time this afternoon. Let me, first of all, thank you all so much for your time and for your attentiveness. You still can like and share, send the link out. Although we may not be live, folks will still be able to go back and watch this and be blessed by these young people. On behalf of the board of directors of the National Youth Conference and the Crusade for Christ national team, we thank you so much for tuning in tonight and to walking with us as we walk with our young people, as we all try to walk a little bit closer to the light and just a little bit closer to the cross. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you all to join us in July of 2027 at the National Youth Conference. It will be our 75th anniversary. We're excited. We're excited to be making an announcement next month as to the location. But for 75 years, the Lord has blessed the work started by Brother Ormel Strong to bring young people together and sustained about several men and women over the course of time. And just so grateful to still be going strong with that effort. In just a moment, we're going to play a video for you from the Crusade for Christ, which will be taking place in Oakland in next July as well. And so we want to make sure you just go and clear out July on your calendar for next year. Spend it at the National Youth Conference and spend it at the Crusade for Christ as we collectively try to be the people that God has called us to be. Follow the video. There'll be a brief survey and QR code there. Please do us a favor. Visit the QR code, visit the link. We want to hear from you. We want to be able to communicate with you to make sure that you have all the information that you need to be able to attend both the National Youth Conference and the Crusade for Christ. Again, thank you so much. Pay attention to this video, and may God bless you. May God keep you.
The Crusade for Christ is one of the largest national evangelism campaigns among churches of Christ in modern American history. Started in 1979 under the visionary leadership of Dr. Daniel Harrison, Minister Emeritus to the Chatham-Avalon Church of Christ in Chicago, Illinois, who was successful in leading the Crusade for Christ as the national director for over 40 years. In its inception, the Crusade for Christ was hosted by local Chicago area Church of Christ ministers and leaders. The Crusade for Christ is a biannual evangelism campaign hosted in various cities every 2 years, where churches of Christ convene together from around the country to help evangelize a city, along with many local congregations of churches of Christ in that city. for July 17th, the 21st, 2027 in Oakland, California at the Oakland Convention Center in the Bay Area with the theme, Jesus Changes Everything. We are expecting thousands of Christians to be a part of this epic evangelism opportunity to serve Christ and humanity evangelistically. Visit www.coccrusade.org and register today. Your registration lets us know you are committed to joining the Crusade for Christ movement and helping us share Jesus with those who need him. Take this very important step to add your voice and presence to this important work. We look forward to seeing you in Oakland, California, in the Bay Area, because we're going to baptize the Bay.
Is your name, you are worthy, Lord.
Are we on? What's on your screen?
Sure. Yeah.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Great
Thank
job.
you.